Is Ivor, and I'm going to be showing you a slideshow of my 2 year journey since I had my spinal cord injury in August of 2018. This is me. I definitely like sushi along with other foods. I would categorize myself as a foodie. Software and tech by trade. Love startups, love other entrepreneurs, love networking. Um, and if you asked him what he would love to do over the weekend, he'd probably say have a barbecue, invite a bunch of friends over, and have kids run around the backyard. Low and slow, preferably. Day before the accident, my grandma's 90th birthday, my brother rented a house up in Whistler, Canada, and he and I took kind of walked from the house to the gondola, took the gondola down, walked around the village, got some groceries, and on our way back up to the house. Beautiful day. Um, it's quite beautiful in Vancouver, July and August. Next day, it was in the afternoon. He and I decided we'd rent some bikes and just ride along the lake because we had some time, and the dinner barbecue wasn't going to happen till the evening, so we had plenty of time. So I was in front on a just a regular bike trail, nothing crazy, nothing too steep, and I went off trail. I don't remember this part where when I went off trail. I remember riding the bike that day. I remember the breeze. I remember how beautiful everything was, but I just don't remember what happened moments before the accident or even the path. So all that's pretty hazy. But I hit a tree stump, fell over the handlebars, hit my head against the tree stump, and then I had whiplash. And it was the whiplash that bruised my spinal cord, which led to my impairment, which led to my injury. Um, I believe this was in Whistler. I wasn't able to move anything below my head and neck. Um, I don't remember this part, but it was pretty dire. I had surgery, great surgeon. Oh, actually, first they flew me from Whistler, the hospital in Whistler, to the level one trauma center in Vancouver called Vancouver General Hospital, VGH. And had a great surgeon. I think she operated within 6 hours, I want to say. And she basically um, put titanium shell around where I was injured from C3 to C7. And the thought there was my spinal canal was too small for the swelling of the spinal cord. So, in order for me to start the healing process, she wanted to just give me more room for the spinal cord to bruise up, swell up, and then to eventually start healing. This is after surgery. I have a feeding tube that goes from here up my nose, down all the way through my throat, all the way to my stomach to feed me. Lots of other IVs and stuff. Um, yeah. So because um, they had to cut a slit in my throat in order to put something called a trach, which allows a machine to help my lungs compress and decompress. Um, I wasn't able to speak, and I think also maybe the feeding tube prevented me from speaking. So I just started blinking for yes, no questions. And my sister, who flew up from San Francisco, where she was living at that time, I just mouthed the words 5 by 5 to her, and she immediately knew what I wanted, and she just drew this up on the fly. And that's what I used to communicate. So I would start mouthing out words to people by using not the nut coordinate system. So I would go 2, 3 for H, and then 2, 4 for I for high. That's my beautiful sister. And this is my friend who heard my news and he immediately booked the next flight from Taiwan to Vancouver. And he went home, packed some clothes. Actually, I don't even know if he went home. And he flew 16 hours to see me. Um, and I will never forget that. So after 3 weeks in Vancouver General Hospital, I was stable enough to be transferred to the next part of my rehabilitation. So when you're in the hospital, it's as you can imagine, you're when you're in the ICU, you're like, okay, let's make sure this guy stays alive. Once you get good enough, you get transferred to a ward, and they still want to keep you alive. So um, you're in the hospital. It's not really made. They don't have equipment there. A lot of equipment to do rehab, to do the intensive therapies. It's really about keeping you alive and sending you home. And in my case, I'm not ready to go home yet. So it's the next facility. So where do we go? Um, there's a few handful of places around the world that actually specialize in spinal cord injury. And we picked Craig Hospital in Denver for this next part of my rehabilitation journey. So I get in the ambulance, get into a small airplane. My brother accompanied me, and we have a pilot and a nurse and a PT, and we get to Denver, and then we get to Craig Hospital.